So today I'm really excited to be introducing you to Helen Chauhan. Thank you so much for being here, Helen.
That's my pleasure, Tracy. Great to see you again.
Great to see you too, and very excited that you're a part of the summit. Are you able to share with everyone a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yeah, okay. So I work as a health coach, which means that I support people in making changes in their food and lifestyle in order to achieve weight and health goals. So I've been working as a coach for about 5 or 6 years now. And before that, I had a background of working in health services.
And that was in the UK, yes?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started out as a nurse originally and then spent very many years managing hospitals in the UK before I moved to Australia about 14 years ago.
Okay, interesting. So why are you passionate about low carb?
Well, that's a good question. I discovered low carb for myself about 7 or 8 years ago now. I'd been sort of facing some health challenges and also working really, really hard in the gym to try and manage my weight without an awful lot of success, because I found that when I stopped exercising huge amounts, I gained weight very quickly. And somebody suggested, it was really just purely by chance, I was talking to somebody and they suggested that I gave low carb a try. And so I was sort of, open-minded about it and willing to experiment. And very, very quickly, I discovered that it was not just an effective way of managing my weight, but also quite unexpectedly, it addressed a lot of the health challenges that I'd been dealing with. And, there were all those sorts of niggly things that you think, oh, this is just how I am. This is how it is, yeah, my skin's, just dry and crumbly all the time. And my gut always just feels a bit funny and uncomfortable. And my scalp's always just a bit itchy and sort of things like that, you just take for granted and think they're a part of yourself. And when you discover actually it's related to the food that you've been eating, it can be a bit of a game changer, really. So, yeah, once I'd sort of started noticing those benefits, there was kind of no looking back for me.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that. I think there's so much about, us that we think is normal that really, doesn't have to be normal, whether it's our cycle, whether it is our hair falling, thinning, or our skin, there's just so many stories now. It's just seen too much for it to know that it does definitely impact, all that stuff. And when you can go through it and experience it yourself and see it, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? When you really just put it down to just getting old.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the thing. I mean, I was in my mid-40s when I discovered low carb, and I was just like, yeah, okay, so arthritis runs in my family, and that's why my joints are aching. And you do just think it's an age thing. And I heard somebody say once a few years ago that the thing with low carb is once you see the benefits, you can't unsee them. So and I think that's part, one of the reasons why people do get so passionate and so excited about it, because so many things that we really spend phenomenal resources in our healthcare system trying to look after and manage can actually be managed and prevented very, very effectively through making diet and lifestyle change.
So is this why you went down the health coaching path, or were you already on that path before you sort of had this transformational stuff yourself?
Well, it was kind of a combination of things. So in my management career, I had actually been doing coaching as a manager. So coaching sort of in itself has been shown in many, many different fields to be a very, very effective tool for bringing about behavior change. And I'd been using sort of coaching techniques in helping to develop people in management and leadership roles. So I was very, very familiar with that approach. So when I discovered low carb, when I got interested in food and nutrition and lifestyle change, and was starting to look at how I might get into that field, it struck me sort of there were two routes. One would be to go down a very formal sort of nutrition and dietetics training approach. And then the other one was around health coaching. And because personally I'd seen the benefits in different settings of coaching techniques, that was an approach that I felt very comfortable with. And that was the direction I wanted to go. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I did then go on to complete a master's in health coaching and applied nutrition. So that was really allowed me to kind of take my health coaching to another level, and explore the really strong evidence base around coaching techniques.
Awesome. So what is your summit topic going to focus on then?
Okay, so I'm going to be, rather than focusing specifically on low carb, I'm going to be talking much more about self-coaching techniques and how people who are going about making food and lifestyle changes can draw on some of those coaching techniques so that they can implement change successfully in their own life. So I'm going to be talking about approaches to building new habits, because building new habits can be hard, but there are some tips and techniques that I can share about how to go about doing that. And in particular, understanding your motivation and really digging deep into what's driving your motivation for change. And then I'm going to be covering effective goal setting. And how to use goal setting techniques to take you to where you want to be. And then lastly, just talking a little bit about training your brain, because our brain can play tricks on us and can also be a big support if you know how to get it working well for you. So using opportunities and success as ways of training your brain to help you to achieve.
Sounds right up my alley. Can't wait to watch it. So can I ask you one little question around change? And are you able to share just a couple of little, I guess barriers? Like, what do you, in your work, obviously you've done this for such a long time, and, are there a couple of things that you see that are barriers to change with, particularly with maybe females, because I know that you work a lot with, pre-postmenopausal women.
Yeah.
Is there a couple of things you can share around that, or are we saving it all for the talk?
No, there's definitely a couple of things that I can share. I think one, and I'll talk a little bit about this in my presentation, is about sort of approaching change in terms of sort of bite-sized pieces. And I think one of the challenge, particularly for women, and particularly if you are responsible for feeding other people, doing the shopping, maybe taking care of children or taking care of a partner, is that if you're trying to achieve whole-scale change and change the whole family at the same time, then that can be really, really challenging. And one of the difficult things for women is to say, actually, no, I'm just going to focus on me for now, and everyone else can just do their thing. And that's something that I see a lot. And if you're able to do that and able to sort of break those massive changes down into smaller changes, then that can be a way of being more successful.
Fascinating. All right. The last question I have that I'm asking everyone, all my guests, is low carb sustainable in your view? What's your thoughts around that?
My thought is absolutely yes. 100% yes, it is sustainable. I mean, certainly if you just look at the evidence base, there's good evidence now that demonstrates that, certainly the weight and health benefits that come from low carb approaches are sustainable in the long term. And we're really starting to show that those sorts of benefits are sustainable in the real world, and not just in the laboratory. And I think one of the, for me, you know, if I was to try and sell a low carb lifestyle to somebody else, I think the thing that really makes it sustainable is the flexibility of it. That it's not a one size fits all approach. It's not about saying, okay, if you're going to go low carb, you've got to cut absolutely all of the carbs out of your diet. You've got to go 20 grams a day. You've got to be, you know, in nutritional ketosis all of the time. You've got to be going to 45, and you know that there's this sort of huge lifestyle that's one set thing that comes with it. There are loads and loads and loads of different ways that you can approach a low carb lifestyle, and lots of different tools and techniques that you can bring into that. And it's really about your own goals and your own starting point, and then forging a path that's going to work for you. And that's what makes it so flexible and sustainable in the long term.
That's fantastic. I think that's great, because I think, you know, I guess the argument when people make that argument that it's not sustainable is because they do think it's a one size fits all, and it's just another fad diet, or you know, and it is, you know, I think it's just an innocent misunderstanding, and it isn't that. And I think that's what all of us are going to be, you know, that's the overriding message, that it is a lifestyle. It's definitely sustainable, but you have to make it work for you. I mean, you can't put somebody else's plan on you and expect it to work for you and your lifestyle. You've really got to make it work for you and your lifestyle. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, so great to meet you. I'll chat to you again, Helen, and looking forward to your summit talk. I'm so grateful that you're a part of it. Thank you so much.
That's a pleasure. Looking forward to the summit myself. It'll be good.
Yeah. Thanks, Helen.
Thank you. Bye.